space. On the partner side, I've worked on the client side. I've worked in different industries: automotive, banking, finance, education, charity, and so on and so forth. And in my spare time, I do a bit of mentoring as well, and I do some speaking. That's community speaking engagements, and anyone who's interested in connecting, feel free to send a LinkedIn invite, and these are my details at the top there. And I'm happy to connect with anyone and everyone so that at least we can know who we are interacting with, and two, we can possibly and definitely grow our relationships professionally. So in a nutshell, that's me, and I'm based out of London. And I see in our training, we've got quite a couple of people that have joined. So I don't know, do we have any volunteers on people that might want to speak a little bit, about themselves, or probably, say one or two things about what excites them about the Power Platform and what, expectations they have for this particular course. Feel free to say anything. Nothing I will probably say is prohibited. The whole purpose of this training is obviously to try and expand knowledge, especially for those that are wanting to transition from other careers and move into IT, or probably already into IT, and transition and work in the Power Platform space. So, do we have anyone that's ready just to give us, just a couple of words on what they do, who they are, and that sort of thing? Feel free, guys. Anyone can jump in.
Yeah, I can start then anyway. So yeah,
Sure.
it's Deji. Yeah, I'm kind of in the QA space, and I've used Dynamics a lot actually. So, and it will be good to see how it's been developed, so that in terms of knowledge, to actually see how the testing can be done. In the last few weeks or months, I've also picked up another application for testing Dynamics, which is a repro that Microsoft is now using for testing Dynamics as well. And also in terms of Powerapps, I also do a bit of development as well. So it'd be good to actually see how Powerapps is developed, and even I know there's some testers here as well as BA, so that I want to see how apps are developed so that it can improve their knowledge about mobile testing or mobile requirements and everything. You got a mix of different people, BAs, QA, and I think there are also some Scrum Master that really want to see what actually goes under the hood for us to be able to know, how this is done anyway. So that's me. If anyone wants to go next, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Deji. Anyone else, feel free to say just a few words. It doesn't matter which space you are working in, as Deji has already said. You could be in QA, you could be a developer, you could be a business analyst, you could be a consultant in another different technology, or you could be someone pretty new in IT, and you just want to, gain that knowledge and put that skill set under your belt. So feel free just to say one or two words, so at least we get to know each other. Anyone, just anything?
Good evening. My name is Ayo. I'm a Scrum Master. So
Yeah.
I'll be interested to know what goes on at the back end, really and truly. So yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Ayo. Do we have anyone else who just wants to say a word or two? If not, okay, what we can do is we can proceed. So the next thing is just letting you guys know what it entails to when one wants to gain this knowledge. There's quite a lot of training which one can access, and the beauty of it is majority of the training can be accessed for free. So at some point, I'll give you some links to where you can actually go in, register, and you can start learning um, self-paced on your own. And you can also join us here and you ask some questions, be it on things that you're not so sure on, or on things that you might need, a bit of clarity on as well. So Microsoft do hold what are called virtual training days, and these are advertised by Microsoft, and they do have a lot of courses running every week. And one can simply just sign up, do a course. Some of them are a day, some of them are 2 days. So we are looking at about 16 hours of training. And in addition to that, at times you get discounted exam vouchers. At times you get free vouchers, completely 100% free voucher on completion of a particular course. So not only do they provide you with the training material, you can do the training, they provide you with an exam. If you write the exam, with all things being equal, you pass, you've already got a certification under your belt for free. So all it takes is your will to succeed, if I can put it that way. Microsoft, they've got the tools to push you through on your journey. Then the next thing that I'll probably quickly look at is don't really need to go into the training guides, is what the course entails itself. So the course is sort of like split into about 6 modules. We've got the introduction to Power Platform, an introduction to the customer data service, which is the data model that Microsoft Dynamics or Power Platform rather uses. And we'll take you through on how to get started with Power Platform. The fourth module, we take you through on how to get started with Power Automate. Module 5, we look at getting started with Power BI. This is your reporting, and that's a reporting tool that Microsoft has. And the last module, which is module 6, will be getting started with Power Virtual Agents. So it's a fully packed course, and it's got quite a lot of things to delve into. And I know today we've only got 2 hours. So what I'll probably do is today I'm pretty much just going to give you an oversight of how things hang together. And then maybe the next session we'll go deeper into the configuration and be it customizations and
if they are not the customers, if they are not the team, then they will obviously be at this meeting.
Alfred, is it possible you can mute yourself? Thank you very much. And if there is appetite for people that want to look into development, say developers, we can have a session where we probably do out and out development. So that's looking at working with code, C# code, and building things like plugins and workflows and so on and so forth. And so in terms of introduction wise, I'll probably say the Microsoft Power Platform has enabled businesses, usually businesses, we all know that businesses survive on data. How we keep that data, how we manipulate that data, how we make sure that certain people have access to that data has become quite key. And as we all know, data is the new gold. So users in an organization interact daily with data, be it inputting customer details, be it inputting payroll details, and so on and so forth. And once that information has been sent through into the system, I think we also want to have ways to analyze that data so that the business can make a good and sound business decisions. So that is when when we start analyzing the data, we can probably plug in things like Power BI, where we query that data, we interrogate that data, and we get different insights into what sort of data that the organization will be holding against their customers or clients, or whatever the case may be. So Microsoft also enables business users to craft solutions that empower and unite customized technology to help everyone. And this is across the whole organization. The data could be used by, C-level executives within an organization. It could be used by frontline workers to drive, the business to the next level. And what we are actually going to try and learn is we're going to try and learn various components and features of Microsoft Power Platform, and how these components are used when we create business solutions. And we will try and create various solutions along the way as we move forward. And there's quite a few sort of like components that shout out when you start talking about the Power Platform. And these are things, like your Powerapps, as I said earlier on, which is here. And we've got things like Power Automate, we've got the Power BI and Power Virtual Agents. So I'll probably just quickly jump through things. I know for the sake of brevity, I won't be able to go too much into detail at this present moment in time, but I'll try and go into detail, much granular detail, when we move on to the next course sessions and coming days or so. So we've got, things like Powerapps. What is Powerapps? Powerapps provides, low-code development. And in what does it mean to say low-code development? This is when you don't really need to write a lot of code, because Microsoft have done a lot of the work in the background. And as a user of the platform, you don't really need to write thousands and thousands of lines of code, to get your application going, because Microsoft have built in quite a lot of code into the product already. So I mean that you can just go in there, manipulate, and yes, in rare circumstances or in certain situations where probably a business or an organization needs to do complicated stuff, this is only when you need a developer to sit there and start writing a bit of code to extend the platform. It has services. It has connectors, and it's a scalable data service platform, which in a nutshell is called Microsoft. Well, it was called previously Dataverse, but now it's Common Data Service, and it allows simple integration and interaction with existing data. So, in a way, the Powerapps Common Data Service is more like a database. This is where everything is built upon. This is where everything, in terms of information resides. And when an organization needs to interact with that data, this is where they connect to, and this is where they query, so that they can have, answers to questions that they might have pertaining to their business, how they're running their business, and also gain some insights on what it is that the business is doing, is working for the organization, or probably things that the organization might want to do to try and improve operations and how things work on a day-to-day basis. And this is the app. People use apps, as you know. Nowadays, everything that we talk about, I'm sure majority of the people on this call, they've got smartphones, and I'm sure everyone is aware of what
whereby we see it as a mindset, how we think, how
it's basically just something that can be used, to view data, to interact with the data, or to capture data. And moving on to quickly Power Platform, Power Automate. So Power Automate, what it does is it automates how things are done between applications and services. So previously in the Dynamics 365 world, we used to have workflows, but those are slowly being overtaken by Power Automate. And what Power Automate does is you're just providing automation, which helps repetitive business processes, things like data collection, things like communication, things like decisions, things like approvals, to be done automatically behind the scenes. Whereas previously, maybe if a piece of information was input in the system, and a particular department wanted to do something with that data, they would then need to run a workflow that would provide some sort of a result set. But nowadays, what you can do is you can build an automated workflow which runs behind the scenes, and it will do, mostly all those repetitive processes that people have been doing for a long time. And it cuts out on people losing productive hours, with things like writing emails, like when you are writing same email that you sent out at certain intervals, but it's I'll probably say an email that is drafted once and it's continuously sent out, say for argument's sake, to customers. If you've got a scenario like that, it's something that you can actually do via Power Automate, and it allows also for the creation of enterprise grade process automation, and it simplifies how things work, and tasks can also be automated. So this can actually be done by just beginners or standard users within an organization, to complex automation, which can be done by developers or seasoned developers. And then what I would also maybe quickly talk around is Power BI. So those that have worked within the business intelligence space, we are basically talking about business analytics and how we deliver insights, into an organization's data. So basically, you're just analyzing the organization's data and presenting it in different ways. Pretty much majority of the time, you're displaying the data, through data visualizations that make up things like reports, that make up things like dashboards, that enables faster and informed decision making. And this can actually be scaled across an organization. But the beauty of it, you've already got connectors within Microsoft space that you can connect to Power BI. So you don't really need, to get developers to do a lot of coding. Maybe those that are in the IT space, where you want to connect two different systems, you probably have to, create APIs and things like that. With Microsoft or Power Platform and Power BI and things like Dynamics 365, you've got connectors which are already inbuilt. So it's just a question of quickly linking the two, and things will work seamlessly. And lastly, I think I'll probably talk about Power Virtual Agents. These enable anyone to create things like chatbots. As we all know nowadays, when you go online and you go onto certain websites, you've got chatbots that provide or that come through graphical interfaces where you can interact, with a website up to a certain level before it passes you on to a human being. So you can build those chatbots, and what it does, it minimizes the effort that is required to develop and maintain custom solutions, which then gives a lot of time back to the organization, and for staff to do the more important stuff, or the more important things that get the organization to move forward on a day-to-day basis. And you've got Power Automate flows that are used or that help users automate activities or core, backend systems. So you might have backend systems that are linked to the Power Platform, and you can build flows that do that interaction between your instance of, for argument's sake, Dynamics 365 and any other backend systems. So conscious that I'm yapping away. If anyone has got a question, please feel free just to chime in or interrupt me so that we can quickly go through that. And then the other thing that I think I'm probably going to quickly talk about is the certification. So for this particular course that we are talking about today, there is a targeted certification, as I said earlier on, and that certification is PL 900. And there are various things that you would need to look out for when you do this certification, but everything, trust me, will be covered in this course. All the information that you need to sail through the exam will be covered in this course. So you are looking at describing what business value Power Platform brings to an organization. And this is the weighting on the right-hand side. So on the exam that you go through, you should know that at least 15 to 20% of the questions would be focusing on what value Power Platform brings to the organization. And also you'll be asked, to identify key components of the Power Platform, which we've already gone through. You'll also be asked to demonstrate your capabilities of what Power BI can do for an organization, demonstrate capabilities of what Powerapps can do for an organization, capabilities of what Power Automate can do and Power Virtual Agents can do for an organization. And this is the weighting here. So roughly you're looking at about 15 to 20% of each section. So you've got about 6 sections that cover the exam. And if you manage to master these 6 sections, I would probably say it's easy for you to sail through the exam. And I don't see any reason why one cannot sail through the exam after having gone through those sections. And now moving on to the next thing, I think we've had a few people in the audience. We've heard from Deji. Do we still have anyone that might want to just chime in and say who they are, what experience they have? So at least, we are trying to get to know each other. Guys, feel free. Let's make this interactive. Anyone could just chime in and say, anything. Or I suppose people are a little bit shy. I will continue to talk. So about this course. What does this course give you? This course in itself, it provides a fundamental level of knowledge on business value and product capabilities of the Power Platform. And the audience for this course, you're looking at beginners, people that are beginning to learn the Power Platform and the common data services, the common data service, not services. So the Power Platform and the common data services, they are sort of like parts of the same thing. The common data service is the actual data database. If I can just bring it, into or break it down into granular levels. And as I said earlier on, the content for both courses align to the PL 900 exam, which you can take at the end of the course. And to do this course, you don't need any prerequisites. You just need to be a good student with a basic IT background, and especially for those that have got IT backgrounds, you'll find that what we talk about for the Power Platform, the concepts are quite easy to understand because it majority of the time resonates with probably things that you've done working in different spaces as well. And then looking at technical requirements. So for one to be able to do this course through Microsoft Learn, I will take you through Microsoft Learn. All you need is just a PC or a laptop, access to the internet, a good operating system, something that I'll probably say is a bit modern, a modern browser, preferably if you have Microsoft Edge, that will be the best browser I would recommend. But however, you can still do this through other browsers as well. And you will certainly come across some PowerPoints that will guide you on what you need to do. After each section that you go through, you would have some lab practice. You would have some practice questions to test your level of knowledge. And I think basically that is what you need in a nutshell. And then in terms of learning, you've got Microsoft Learn, which I spoke about earlier on. And what I'll do is I will post the link so that anyone can actually navigate to that URL, register. You don't really need much. You just need your email account and maybe a mobile number when you do the registration. And once you do that, then you'll be able to start learning straight away. And there's quite a lot of information on Microsoft Learn. And there is also other resources that you can use. Things like, the Power Platform or the Powerapps blog. You can use Channel 9, which is MSDN website. And you've got Power Platform documentation as well, which is available. And you've got, for those that want to go into, GitHub repos, there is quite a lot of stuff in there. And there's, a lot of information all over the place. So I don't see why anyone would struggle. And like I said earlier on, when you do the training, at the end of each section or some of the section, you've got hands-on labs that you can do, so you can test your knowledge. There's videos that are also within the coursework, something that will show you what or how certain things work within the Power Platform arena. And you've also got the Powerapps blog, where you can read through stuff that has been blogged pertaining to the Power Platform. And then in terms of exams, there is practice tests that you can do. There is exam reference guides as well, and there's also exam blueprints. So there is tons and tons of material, I would say, that is available for anyone that would want to dive in, into the space. And I think in terms of just a quick rundown of the course, that is Power Platform in a nutshell. Does anyone have a question before we look at the actual product itself? Anyone with any questions on things that I've said, maybe that they might need a bit more clarity on? If not, then we can probably do a quick deep dive into Power Platform and some of the components that are within the Power Platform.
Dan, sorry, one question for some people that, do you need knowledge of development before you can be successful at this particular training, or you don't need?
To be quite honest with you, you don't really need development knowledge, because in the Power Platform space, there is different kinds of levels in terms of workspaces or work that you can do. So you could be working in that space, but not everyone has to be a developer. Certain people could be just business analysts, so they want to understand the product, how it works. Certain people could be functional consultants, which are hybrids of business analysts and tech consultants. Or you could be just a consultant that is working more on the customization and configuration of the product. Or you actually want to be an out-and-out developer. So there's different levels of skill sets that one can go in at. And for this particular level, what we are actually going through today, you don't really need any software development experience at all.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And do we have any more questions from anyone else before we probably do a quick run through of the product or database. Okay, for me, please go ahead.
Sorry, good evening.
Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, my name is Fumi, and I'll introduce myself like you have said. I
Sure.
work as an administrator in the NHS.
Mhm.
But at the moment, I'm just looking at career development, and I've been attending series of the training. But at the moment, I'm still a bit confused about the exact one to go for. But like you have said, in this course, if you after studying this course, what would you work as it? Because I don't know, is it related to data analyst, or because I seems to be a bit confused, so I don't really get.
To be quite honest with you, you could work in so many fields within the Power Platform space. So data analysts are part of what you could work as well. So if you focus more on the Power BI side of things, that would probably take you through the data analyst route. You could work, for argument's sake, as Microsoft Dynamics 365 administrator.
Oh, okay.
You could work as a functional consultant. There is quite a lot of job roles that you could do once you learn this particular module. Probably what I can do is in the next session, I can probably take you through what sort of jobs you can go for.
Yeah, that would be.
I think
the course under your belt.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good done. But I may also kind of add or help in this area as well. So one thing with this particular course, it cuts across every of the roles, right? Let's start with the BA, right? If you are going to go for business analyst, actually, so you could be working as a technical. I think Dan actually used a particular word for it, functional analyst.
Consultant.
Technical, yeah, exactly. So which we will call a traditional BA role, actually. So even if you're going to work as a BA as well, you might be working with a application that was developed with Powerapps or Dynamics. And that's one. And or even as a QA, I've actually led a team that the application was developed in Dynamics. So it's really a good experience to know how it's been developed. And so sometimes you have some of the roles, they say, okay, do you know how to use Powerapps? Even though you are not going to develop it, they need knowledge of someone that have used it before. So even if you are a QA, this is also very important for you to have this skill set. Even as a Scrum Master as well, you might also work in a team that what they are actually developing is Powerapps, actually. And then this having to go through this course will also help you as well. I think Dan has mentioned the fact that if you are going for data analytics, it is also there as well as a data analytics person. So it's kind of cut across everything. Yeah. So I will still speak to Dan to see if it's a course that we need to bring into the internship, or if it's a course that we'll just do for that session that is got the time, and we'll look into how this is going to work. But this is one of the courses that is just cut across every of the roles, actually. So even though you decide to go for BA, that doesn't mean that this particular role is not going to be useful for you. It would also be useful for you because you might be seeing some roles that is Powerapps or Dynamics. So it's really a specialized skill that you need to have under your belt, I would say.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thanks, Deji. And also, just to add on to what Deji has just said, let's take, for instance, a BA. You're working as a business analyst, and some of the key things that you do as a business analyst is you go on and you elicit requirements. So you are looking, as is. What does the system do where you're working? And you then need to map those business processes, to be. So if you've got a good understanding of the product, it makes your life a lot easy, because you know at that point, okay, this is what Power Platform does. These are the capabilities. When I need to do reporting, I should just look at Power BI. That should cover what I need to do. The organization does a lot of repetitive stuff, like sending like same email at maybe on a weekly basis or maybe on a monthly basis, and you don't want someone to be sitting there and writing that email all over again, and getting all the contacts or customers and they send that email out. You could have Power Automate do that, so you only sit down, you do it once, and it does that in the background for you to do the repetitive processes. So I would say, as Deji has just said, it cuts across the whole landscape. And if you are, for argument's sake, a developer, yes, this course would be good for you, because you can go down and develop it to the next level. Be it write, a bit of code, be it change, the Power Automates to do so that they do, complex business processes. It's things that you can do as a developer. If you're going in as a technical consultant, maybe your job is just to, look at a system and you configure it and you customize it so that it meets your customers' needs and expectations. This course would cover you for that. So yeah, I would say it does not necessarily matter where you are going to work within the Power Platform landscape. There's something for everyone.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else with a burning question? If not, what I'll then do at this point in time, I think I'm going to go on to D365. Are you guys able to see my screen where I've got the Dynamics workspace open?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. So what I'm actually going to do here is going to look at one of the products within that family.
Dan, one question before you go ahead. So after
Yeah.
this meeting today, are you going to give an organization for everyone to kind of play with, or like a playing ground, so that we can actually do anything on this particular environment? Or do you want to create one so that people will be able to play with it? Is it possible?
Yes, what I can do alternatively, if you want, probably I can quickly go through this, and then I will take everyone on this call through a series of steps on how to create your own environment. Microsoft can give you an environment for 30 days. And should that 30 days lapse, you can recreate another one.
Yeah, that would be good actually. Yes. So if you can go through those steps to create your own environment, then everybody can do that. However, maybe what's going to happen within this quiz that we'll create one, then we'll be able to share the link with everybody, because what I've seen that even though you think everyone should be able to create it, some people will still struggle in creating it. So, or in this meeting, if you can go through how to create it, then that's fine. So even as a school, we can create one and send it to everyone later.
Yeah, sure. That's not a problem. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. So this is one environment that I did create for myself. But as we said just a little while ago, what I'll do is in the last 10 minutes of this course, I'll take you through how to create a new environment for yourself. And I'll also pass out links to Microsoft Learn so that as you play around with the environment, you've also got the learning environment where you are learning and you're going through the modules on the side, even though we will be going through the modules in this course. So as you notice, this is what Dynamics 365 looks like. And in this case, we are looking at the customer service module, which is case management. And case management is one of the most powerful tools that Microsoft has created to date, I would say, because it gives an ability for organizations that deal with queries on a day-to-day basis. And as we know, pretty much any organization deals with queries on a day-to-day basis. And with case management, it gives an organization the ability to keep all interactions within one place, so that whenever an individual interacts with the organization, all conversations are kept in one place. And if I was dealing with that customer, and tomorrow the next, probably might not be in, and the next person is working with that customer, they would know, or they would have access to a history of interactions that would have happened between the organization and that particular customer. And with case management, what it is you've got a case, and this is a representation of an incident of a service. So let's take, for argument's sake, an education, a higher education institute. And you could have students within a university, and they have queries that they have against the university. One might have a query to say, I need to understand, how much I still owe the university, or I need to take, a break in my study due to, certain personal reasons or circumstances, or someone might not be happy with a certain thing between themselves and the institution. So what that person can actually do is they can write into the university, or they can phone into the university, speak to someone, from the members of staff, and that conversation is recorded as an incident. And in Microsoft Dynamics terms, it's called a case. And what it does represent, it represents anything which could be, the interaction between that student and the university, and the resolution or the answer that they could have got from the university. And today I could be in touch with the university and say, I need, an answer on my finances. How much am I still owing the university? Probably I've got an issue with the bursary that I've been given, or the grant, or whatever the case may be. So a case could be opened in that particular instance. And then 2 weeks down the line, I might have a personal issue, and I might want to take a break, for a semester, because I need to deal with my personal issues. Another case could be created. So multiple cases could be associated to one person. So I could have multiple cases against my CRM record. And also the interactions that I have within the case are classified as activities. So it could be it could be phone call activities, when I make a phone call and I speak to the university. And whoever I deal with on the university side, they can capture what we spoke about as an activity, as a phone call activity. And that activity is appended to the particular case. So you would have all the history of all the interactions that I would have had with the organizations. Be it I've sent through an email, that email will be attached to the case. Be it a phone call, or I can even just write a note. I could be a member of staff and I'm dealing with a student. And then we've agreed that at some point, maybe in 10 days' time, I need to reach out to the student, maybe to get a bit more information, or maybe to validate something. I can put a note against that particular case. And there's also an element of things like entitlements that specify the amount of support services that the customer is entitled to. You've got knowledge-based articles within Dynamics 365, where you keep a repository of informational articles pertaining to the organization. This could be on how best to help customer service representative, resolve cases, or things like frequently asked questions. So those are things that you can use within Microsoft Dynamics 365. There's an element of queues, and in queues, what it simply means is this is a way of storing and organizing activities and cases that are waiting to be processed. So I could have a couple of cases that need to be processed. I can put all those cases in a queue. So I just organize them in a particular way, so that when I work with them, I work with them in an organized manner. And when you're working with cases, you've got service level agreements as well, what are known in short as SLAs. And these are ways of tracking what should happen when a case is opened. So you've got a definition of what needs to be done when a case is opened. How long should that case take to be resolved? How long should we take as an organization to respond to a customer? So an organization could have a policy that says if a student emails or creates a case, and we've got a case against student A. With student A, our policy is to say we need to make sure that we resolve that case within maybe 3 days, or within 48 hours, or within a week, depending on what the policy that has been agreed to by that particular institution. And you've got things like routing rules, how you route cases to specific queues or to specific users. And some of these things, I think they will only start to make sense once we get into the nuts and bolts of how things work within the product. And then you've got things like process flows that gives you a guided way of how things are done at different stages and what steps need to be taken to resolve specific items, things like a case. So I think that's it in a nutshell. So as you can see, this is what the product looks like. And we've got standard cases here. So at the present moment, I'm just using data that has already been pre-populated or supplied within the product. So if I go into a particular case, so we've got a particular case here that is looking at someone's issue, which is something in relation to water supply. And when a case is created, one thing that is done is you get a unique case number. And this unique case number, it can be auto-generated by the system, or you can specify how you want that case number is meant to be built. So you can actually create case numbers yourself, but that means you would have to build code that will handle that side of things. And in this case, it tells us that this case originated from an email. So someone sent an email into the organization. In this case, it's a Claudia Mazzanti. She emailed the organization to say, I have an issue, in relation to water supply. And once that email hit our mailbox as an organization, the first thing that will happen is a case is created, and then that case is passed on to a particular queue for a particular team. And this case, the case has been created, and I have been assigned as the owner of the case. So I, at this particular moment in time, am the one person who's working with that case. And whatever interaction I have with this particular customer, it will all be recorded here. And there are certain fields that one can populate when they are creating a case, or when a case has been created automatically. So what I'll probably quickly look through is maybe how to create a case manually. But for now, we'll probably just quickly look at what is contained in a case. So as we've seen, there are also fields here where you can populate to say there's a parent case. So the beauty of case management in Microsoft Dynamics is you could have a case created. In this case, we've got a case that was created for one particular customer. But then as I'm working with that case, I also realize that the customer needs something else from my work colleague. But instead of me holding on to this case, working on it for a couple of days and then passing it on to my colleague, I can create a child case, which is linked to the main case that I would have. And with that child case, pass that child case to my colleague. It could be another member of staff within my team. They can also deal with a particular query that the student might have. When they are finished with that child case, they can close it. It comes and it comes back to the parent case, and you can also view that child case, in the related section. And the SLAs that I was talking about, this is where they are all recorded. So you could have an instance where you say, the case has been created. Have we sent out a first response? If yes or no, we select whichever is appropriate. And maybe we might want to say, after this, we might want to send a follow-up by a certain date. So we can also select the dates that we want to send that follow-up email. And then the first response, we can also select what date it was responded by or when it was resolved. And in here would have associated knowledge articles. But as you can see, all these fields here, you don't necessarily need to have all the fields on your forms. It depends with the particular organization and what they want to record. So one organization might want to record even more information. In that case, one can actually go and create custom fields where you capture data within the custom fields, and then that data you can interact with that data. However, you want to interact with it a bit through Advanced Find or through Power BI. And then here you've got related things that are related to that particular case. So as I was saying earlier on, it could be related activities. In my case, I can see that there's an appointment that was put in, and you've got a due date for that particular appointment. You've got a task, so I could say by this particular time, I want to do this particular task. So I can put that within that case. So let's say for argument's sake, I want to add a new activity. So I might have taken a phone call with the customer and had a conversation. But then what I'll then need to do is I need to record that conversation. So it's something that I can capture here to say, okay, I've had a conversation with them, and the subject was It was probably a complaint. They were complaining about something. And this phone call, did I make the phone call, which would be outgoing, or did they call in, which would be incoming? So it would denote if the call has come through from the customer or if I have initiated the call. So in this case, I'll probably say I initiated the call, or probably let's say it's a complaint that they've made. So let's, for argument's sake, they called in, and then I can put in the phone number here. What was their phone number? And write, a brief description so of what the call was about. So I'll probably say, customer might not have been happy, with the quality of product that we supplied. So here I can simply say customer was not, happy with water quality that we supplied, to them. And the duration of the call, was it a minute? Was it 2 hours? However long the call was, I can record it here, and then you can put a due date, but it depends. Let's say if I am phoning out to the customer to say I need to ring the customer in 5 days time, so I can put a due date, which is 5 working days from today. But in our case, this is a call that was incoming, so you don't really need to record, the due date. And once you recorded, the key bits of that conversation, you can then save and close. Or if you want to record more activities, you can, you don't necessarily have to save and close and then create another one. Microsoft Dynamics 365 has got the ability, to save and create a new one. So I will save, and then let's say we've got a new phone call. This could have been me now receiving a phone call from making a phone call to the client. So subject would still be the complaint, and I'll put in a description of what the phone call was for, and maybe here I'll probably say I've offered some sort of resolution to their complaint, and it could have been a call that I made there and then, so I don't need to put a due date. But if I want to do a call at a later date, I can then put a due date, and then I'll just save and close. And all that information, as you can see, is now recorded against that particular case. So if I was to not work on this case, someone else would see all the interactions that happened, and all the information is recorded. As you can see, it's got my name against those two activities to say that I am the one who created the activities. So if I go back to cases again. So that's the sort of information which is held in a case. And one of the key bits of information is the status of that particular case. I think this is quite key. It's the status of the case. We can see where that case is. And in our case, we can see that the case is actually in progress. Or you might want to put the status of a particular case on hold because maybe you're waiting on information from the customer. So you can put statuses against the case as well that would easily describe whatever is happening within a particular case. And then what I'll probably do is show you how to quickly create a case from scratch. So in this case, you just go onto your dashboard and you create a new case. And majority of the time, you've got customers that are already within your database. So you know who you're looking for. And in the event that they are not there, you can create a new record and we'll say, in this case, is it a contact that we're opening a case against, or is it an account? So contacts are usually individuals. That could be you, myself, or anyone else, on this call, if they're a customer to an organization, or it could be accounts. So in this case, we are looking at, organizations. So your organization could be doing business with other organizations, which is business to business. And you might want to create a case because the other business that you deal with, which is your client, has, opened or they've got an issue with your organization. So in this case, I'll probably say we are looking at a contact, which is an individual, but that individual was not within our system. So we have to create that from scratch. Beauty of it, if you notice here, if it's a customer and you've got their business card, you can simply scan their business card and that information will be pre-populated in here. So you don't have to type everything from scratch. But in our case, we're probably working with a customer who we don't have a business card for. So our customer is a Joe Blogs. And if we are recording, titles, I'll probably say is a student, since we are using, higher institution example here, and account name. In this case, they're a student with the organization, so they wouldn't have an account. But if probably it's a business where they work for a particular organization, you can then link that to say, okay, you've got Joe Blogs, who's a customer, but they work for your other client, which is company A. And then here, what you can do is you can capture their email. So they're probably cool. Their email is that@gmail.com. And their mobile number, whatever the mobile number is, if they've got a business, but this is a student, so they wouldn't have a business. And then if you want to describe that customer, you can put in a description here as well. And should you want to keep a record of the address, this is something that you can also do. So say it's 2 Corn Avenue, and that's London. Postcode 1 BB. 7 close. And now onto the case details. So what is done now is gone and created a new fresh customer, which is a student. And what's the case title? I'll probably say the case title is finance query. They're querying something about their finances and subjects. There are so many subjects that you can use depending on what the business does or what the organization does. You could build in standard subjects that you can use. And in this case, is it a case type of a question? Do they have a question? Do they have a problem? Do they have a request? I think probably here we'll say what a question on something. But this is the parent case. So you don't need to put anything. And then here you put the description of whatever it is the query is. And then you save and close. And once you save and close, you notice this will now land into our dashboard. And that's the case that we've got there that was created against our student. Yeah, I would say this is how you create a case. And in the event that this case, I am working with the case and maybe I've finished working with the case, what I can also do is I can assign the case to my colleagues that can do a bit more work on it if there's need to. Do whatever they need to do, and then we resolve the case. So once everything has been done and you feel that that case is at a stage where it needs to be closed, you then go ahead and resolve the case. And what you simply do is when you resolve the case, it will ask you for a few bits of information to say what was the resolution. So in our case, we can say maybe the query was answered. What time did it take to resolve that? Was the query dealt with within a minute, within 30 minutes, within an hour? Was it days? And so on and so forth. So we'll probably say our query was dealt with within 15 minutes. And then lastly, you can put in whatever remarks you would want, but this is not mandatory. And then you resolve the case. Now, if you notice up here, I cannot change anything within the case now because the case has been resolved and it automatically is turned into a read-only record. So as a read-only record, I can't do anything else with the case because at that point you're saying everything has been recorded and the query has been answered or resolved and everyone is happy. But then again, we could have our students saying, you know what, yes, you said you resolved the query, but I still have another issue. So you can go ahead and reactivate that case and you bring it back to life, still work on it. Once you finish working with the case, you can then go on and resolve it. And whatever interactions happen between the time the case was opened to the time that it was closed, everything would reside here. And there are quite a few views that you can select from here. So it could be you want to see what open activities are there on that particular case, or all the activities against that particular case, and also the audit history. Say, for instance, if you want to go and check what transpired within the lifespan of that particular case, you can go onto the audit history and check all the information will be recorded there. If our system decides to go into the audit history, let's see. It's just taking a bit of time, but you know what? That is not so important because I know for the brevity, for the sake of brevity, we need to quickly go through other things as well. So I'm just going to resolve this. And should anyone have any questions, please feel free to just interject. So at least we can, I can quickly address whatever questions that you might have. Was resolved in 30 minutes. And as you can notice, like I was saying, our case, this case now has been resolved. You can see within the status, it clearly denotes that the case was resolved and resolved at this particular date and time, which is 8:36 p.m. Also, what is quite key is you've got functionality within Dynamics 365 where you can query the database and you can do simple queries. Okay, I can see Godwin has raised his hand. Go ahead, Godwin.
Just a quick one.
Sure.
In the cases where you have a follow-up or where you set a due date and time, that will mean that the case is in progress. Is that correct?
Indeed.
Assuming you have 100 records, how do you know when the due time is up?
What happens is when I put a due time, I get like a little notification.
Where will the notification show up?
It'll pop up on my screen. Yeah.
Okay, so will the notification, so a notification would either stay for some time and disappear, or assuming you're not at the desk when the notification pops up?
Yeah, it'll stay there, and it's one of those where you probably need just to click in and say, okay.
I see.
Sort of like an acknowledgement.
Okay. So is there a way that such cases could be, for example, color coded so that in case you have a notification, you can have it come in different colors?
To be quite honest with you, I haven't come across that, and I don't think you'll be able to do it. But what it is you can have priorities within cases.
Okay.
So you could have cases which are a high priority.
Okay.
And within your dashboards as well, you can then set them up so that you've got high priorities cases sitting at the top, and then you've got low level priority cases sitting at the bottom.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. So one other thing as well that I would probably quickly show you is the advanced find, and this functionality is a way of querying the database. So you've got a graphic user interface that you're using to query the database. So you don't necessarily need to write SQL statements to say, you know what, I need this particular data, pull this data. All that you can do it through graphic user interface. So say, for instance, we want to just search cases using certain criteria. So let's see what criteria I can, or I can say I want to look at cases that were created today or on a particular date. You can actually search that. As you can see, today we created one case and this is what has come through. Or you can use, different parameters depending on what you actually want to see. Or I can say I want to see cases created by myself, so which is equal to the current user. If we then toggle on to the results set, you can see the case that I created is popping up. And from here, I can still drill in and go into the actual case itself. Should I want to see, a bit more information related to that case. So this is the case that I created. And as you can see, the status is resolved. Because it's resolved, I can't change, anything on the case. Because it would be in a read-only mode. So this is the case, and any interactions that happened, or any transactions that happened within that case, you would see that everything will be recorded here. So I created, a case, which is this case. I closed it at some point, and I resolved the case, and then I reopened it, and then eventually closed that case at 8:42. And this is the last resolution. So you can see all the transactions that transpired within the lifespan of that particular case. And should I want to look at any related information, I can look at it from here. I know I haven't delved into too much. I'm just jumping all over the place because of time constraints. Now that we are at 11 minutes before our course ends, does anyone have any burning questions before we probably jump into the last bit where I show you how to create environments and where you find that?
Yes, I have another question.
Sure, go ahead.
Almost related to the one I asked earlier on, but this time from the customer's perspective. Assuming you have been in contact with the customer and you expect them to send you some information so that you can work within a certain SLA. If they do not send the information within the period of the SLA, what happens?
In normal circumstances, there is not much that happens on the case. It's your prerogative to reach out to the customer and probably nudge them a little bit to say, hey, I'm probably still waiting for XY documents or XY information.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. But also, just to let you know, there's tons and tons of things that you can do on cases. But some of the things would probably need trying to extend how CRM works, and that will now fall into the development work that I was talking to earlier on. I don't know if you joined the call at that point when I was talking about that.
Yeah.
So yes, it could be now you want to do what the product doesn't normally do, but you can try and extend the functionality of Dynamics 365 using code. So now you engage developers and they write code to do, certain things. This could be, things like you want to integrate your instance with another external system. So now you have to probably, create APIs, specify what data is going to be passing between the organization. Is this going to be, one-way integration where one system is just getting information, or is either going to be, a two-way integration where information is going back and forth between, the organization. But then you have to look at also things like if you're building integrations and you are probably building an API, how are you going to be passing that data? In what format are you going to be passing that data? That sort of thing. So that will now be more of out and out development piece where you need Dynamics 365 developers, to build that functionality so that you extend the capabilities of your instance
Okay.
or product rather. Okay, so is there anyone else with another question before I move on? Now, okay, let me show you where to get trials for Dynamics 365, and this anyone can do. So if you need to get a trial, that's the URL. What I can do is I can put it in the chat window so everyone can access it from there. Or I don't know if it's easier, I can pass it to Deji. Deji can then put it into the group. So even those that were not on the course can access it as well. So it's pretty straightforward. If you just type trials .dynamics.com, it will take you to the page where you create your trials, and there are different flavors of Dynamics 365 products. You've got sales modules, which are basically looking at selling. You've got the customer service module, which we looked at. You've got field service. You've got remote access. You've got marketing. There's different flavors of Dynamics 365. What we'll probably do is in the next courses, would look at the different flavors of the product. So at least you guys can familiarize yourselves with the various products within the Dynamics 365 family. And say, for instance, you want to spin up an environment for customer service, which we're looking at today. All you need to do is just to go to try for free, and then you put your email address here. Once you put your email address here, no, I don't want to chat to you. And all you need to do is just put in your email address, and once you put your email address, and then you click, you agree to the agreement. If you don't agree to the agreement, you won't be able to spin up a trial instance, and then you click start. And it's pretty straightforward. Microsoft will spin up an environment for you and pre-populate that with a bit of data that you can use to play around with. Or if you want to create your own data, that's something that you can do as well. Obviously, for me, this will not work because I've already spun up an instance that we are using. But that's all that you need to do. If you go to this page, try for free, put in your email address. It might ask you for one or two bits of information, probably just your phone number for verification processes. You put in your phone number, and boom, you've got a trial version to play with. And what I'll do is I'll speak to Deji outside this course and work with him on the trial instance for the school, which he was saying that you probably not need to give access to all the students all at once. So looking at the time, I think that's it as a quick rundown of Power Platform and Dynamics 365, which we looked at today. Is there anyone with any other questions before we close off for the day?
So the next class is next Thursday, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
We can do Thursday same time.
Okay, thanks.
And if anyone has got any burning questions outside of this, sure, I don't know how you normally do it, Deji. Should they post it within the group?
Yeah, you can post within the Blue Sky group, then then we can address it from there. That's fine. So but then maybe as we go along, if there are a lot of questions, we can have a Telegram group so that we are able to kind of not disturb other people that are not interested in the question.
What I was thinking is it's probably a conversation that I will have with you outside of this. I think I've got another proposal, but we'll talk about it separately.
Okay, good. All right,
so
no
we
problem.
have a dedicated sort of like channel for this, and anyone who has questions can just fire through without worrying about disturbing anyone else who's on different courses, so that we know in a particular channel it's Power Platform or Dynamics 365 courses through and through.
Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Dan, for that. So I think we'll meet next week then. So, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks to everyone.
Sorry, I think someone is unmuted. Nelly, you got a question? Okay, all right.
Anyone with another question before we finish?
If you're talking, Nelly, we can hear you. Okay. I think that's all then.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you ever so much to everyone. And yeah, let's do this again next week.
All right.
And as we move forward, we'll probably start doing, lab sessions so that people can actually play around with the product itself.
Yeah, so it will be good for next week that, people can actually look into that. So I know most people are looking into creating the app itself, actually, to see, what is Powerapps, what is that used for, and how do they create it? And I know a lot of people are also looking into that part of Power BI as well. I know a lot are looking into Power BI. So that's another thing that we can look into. From the module that you sent, is it going to be one module per week? Is or maybe we'll take it offline. So I would, so that we can structure
because
this anyway.
what I was also wanting to do is I would need to make sure that the module that I do, they fit into the times that we have.
Okay.
So let me have a quick think about that, and we'll take it offline. And
okay, cool. All right, cool. All right, thanks, Dan. Yeah, thanks everyone. So we'll see you again next week. Yeah. Cheers.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, everyone.